right. So today we're going over this review sheet. Tomorrow you will have another review sheet to work on by yourself, and the sub will have the answer key up here. That way, after you've done a few, you can come check it to make sure you're doing it right. And then Friday we will finish the test. Okay, so you're going to have 2 days of review. A population of 2,500 bacteria is growing at a rate of 10% per day. Use A equals P times 1 plus R to the T power and write an equation that will give you the number of bacteria present per day. So for this one, they tell you the equation to use. A equals, your P value will be what? Right, that's your starting value. And then parentheses 1, they even tell you to use plus because it's growing. What is the rate? Right, 0.1 or 0.10, however you'd like to write it. And then right now they don't tell us like how many days in the first part, so we just put T for time. Now in part B, they give us a time after 10 days. So all you'll do is take that same equation you just created. When you type it in, you can type it in simplified form. And what I mean by that is instead of typing that, like 1 plus 0.10, you can just type it in like this. And then in the T, we put 10. Okay, and what did y'all get? Right, 484.36 bacteria will be present 10 days later. Okay, number 2. If you purchased a computer for $1,000 and it depreciates in value every year by 20%, in how many years will the computer be worth $200? Use the equation A equals P times 1 minus R to the T power and logarithms to solve for T. So this time it's going to be A equals, what is the P value? Right, because that's what you paid for the computer when you purchased it. They even tell you to use 1 minus, and then what's the rate? 0.20, right, for 20%. And then to the T. Now, they want you to solve for T. So that means you don't have a number to plug in for it. That's what you're trying to figure out. So did they give you another number you could plug in? Right. They want to know after how long will it be worth $200. So what will we do with that 200? Right. Correct. So we want to know when the whole thing will equal 200. And so I'll go ahead and simplify that to what? 0.80, right? 1 minus 0.20 is 0.80. And now it looks like that. Okay? And it tells you you have to use logarithms to solve it. So what would we do first? Divide by 1,000. What is 200 divided by 1,000? Just type it in. 200 divided by 1,000. 0.2. So you have 0.2 equals 0.80 to the T power. Now, currently it's in what form? Right. Y equals b to the x form, which is exponential form. But to solve for, well, and actually our x is really the same thing as t, right? So to solve for the time, what form do you have to rewrite it in? Log. And what does log form look like? Right. Well, first let's write out the form. So we want it to be in log base b of y equals x form. So that'll be log base 0.80 of 0.2 equals x, or equals t in this case because they're using t. And so the final answer, all you have to do is plug that in, and what do you get? 7.21. So that means the correct answer choice would be B, between 7 and 8 years. Now, say on the test that you don't know that you're going to be able to do all this solving. Once you have the equation and you at least know that A should be replaced with 200, what could you do with that? Like if you at least get to 200 equals 1,000 times 0.80 to the t, what could you do if you don't know how to solve it? Right, you have choices. So you could start by plugging in 2. See if it gets you close to 200. If it doesn't, try 7. See if 7 gets you close to 200. And if it didn't, but it does, try 9. Okay, so even if you don't know how to solve it, since this one's multiple choice, you could plug in some of the answers into T to see which one brought you closest to 200. Any questions? Okay. Do y'all have that copy? Okay. Now let's look at number 3. Okay, number 3A. What would we need to do first on a problem like this? Correct. First, we add the 2 to the other side. And that gives me log base 3 of x equals 4. Now see how what we have remaining is in that log base b of y equals x form. That's your base. That's technically in the y place, and that's in the x place. But to solve it means get x by itself, so what would we do? We would what? Well, you can't divide it because that's not like 3 times x. That's a base of 3. Right. Right. Correct. You just take it from log form on the board to exponential form. So remember, the first number stays first. Okay, 3 stays first. These two just change sides. The 4 comes over as the exponent, the x goes over as the answer. And so now we basically have the answer, but on the test, you'll see that they simplify that. What is 3 to the 4? 81. Now, you can, of course, check it with your calculator. How do I type in log base? Math. And then it's at the bottom, so it's easier just to hit up to get there. Log base. If I type in 3, and then in the x place, I type in what I think x is, I'll see if I'm right. It equals 4. That means I'm right. Okay, so if that one is a multiple choice one on the test, if you don't know how to do it, you can just type in each of the 4 choices for the x until you get the right answer. You could even have typed them in from the get-go. Like if you have 4 choices, start by typing them in right there. Type in log base 3 of choice A minus 2 and see if the calculator says 2. Okay, it just depends. I want you to do it however you need to do it to get it right. Okay? Alright, B. E to the 2x equals 14. Okay, so this one is an exponential form, but it's a natural log because your base is e. See on the whiteboard that e to the x equals y? That's the form this one's in. Okay, but we want x by itself, and if you look over, when it's rewritten as a natural log, isn't x by itself ln of y equals x? So won't that just be ln of 14 equals 2x? It's just like the log one. This stays where it is, but instead of e, you write ln. These two things just switch sides. So now to solve for x, what would we do? Okay, we could go ahead and type in ln 14. How do we type that in? Right, here's ln right beside the 4. And then 14. I would go ahead and hit enter. And now what will we do to that number? Divide it by this 2. Okay, so basically we're dividing both sides by 2 in the calculator. And when we do that, you get 1.319, so like 1.32. I would highly recommend that you type it in like I did. Because let me show you what might happen if you type it in this way. If you typed in ln 14 and then you didn't hit enter and you immediately divided by 2, let's see what you get. A different answer. Because technically that becomes ln of 7, right? And that's not what we're doing. We're doing the natural log of 14, whatever it is, that number divided by 2. So you can't type it in like this. Type it in all separate. Okay? Alright, and then of course you can check it. Like if this were a multiple choice, you could have started by typing in E, which is right above the LN button, so you have to hit second to use it. And then 2 times, type in choice A, which we'll say is 1.32. And when you hit enter, you get 14, which lets you know we did it right. Okay, C. What should we do first for C? Can we go ahead and subtract that 3 over? Why not? Right, it's trapped inside the parentheses. So this is in log form. There's log, the b, the base is 5. All of that is sitting in the y place, and then the 2 sitting in the x place. So to rearrange it, we need to rearrange it to y equals b to the x, or a lot of times we just rearrange it b to the x equals y. Okay, so what will that look like? Correct. Just try to remember the first number stays first. These two things just switch sides. So on this side we now have 25, and on the right side we have 4x plus 3, and now we just have a two-step equation. What do? Right? And that becomes 22 equals 4x, and then we divide by 4, and what is 22 divided by 4? 5.5. And then of course you can check it, or if it had been multiple choice, you could have just done it that way from the beginning. To type in log base 5, you'll have to go to math, log base. Base is 5, and then you type in 4 times, because that's sitting by the x, so you multiply it by 5.5 plus 3, and then that equals 2. So we did it right. Okay, D. Second LN. Okay, D, what should we do first? It's currently in what form? LN, which is that ln y equals x. Okay, this is ln, all of that's in the y place, and the 4 is in the x place. Well, we want to get it rearranged to exponential form, which is e to the x equals y, or y equals e to the x, however you want to do it. So what will that look like? Right, e to the 4th. The ln we just rewrite as e, because that's the base of a natural log, and those two just switch sides. The 4 comes over as the exponent, the x plus 2 goes over there. Now to solve for x, what are we going to do? Correct. First evaluate e to the 4th, so second ln, and then to the 4th power, hit enter, and then what will you do to that number? Subtract 2. And so your answer will be 52.6. Okay, and then of course you can check it. ln of 56 or 52.6 plus 2 parenthesis equals 4. And that's what it says it will equal. Any questions so far? Can I erase? Okay, let's move on to E. 4 to the x plus 1 power equals 16. So this is currently in what form? Exponential, right. 4 is your base, all of that's your exponent, and 16 is in the y place. We need to rewrite it in log form, so it'll be log base of equals x plus 1. Remember, the first number stays first. These two just switch sides. So now what should I do first? Right, go ahead and evaluate this side and get a number on your calculator for it. So log base 4 is 16. And then what will we do to that number? Subtract the 1 from it, so the final answer is 1. And then think about it, you don't even have to have a calculator to check this one. If you plug in a 1 right here, doesn't that become 1 plus 1 is 2, and 4 squared we know is 16? So do you see how important it is to always check your answers on this test? Okay, can I erase? F. What form is it in? Log. Okay, so it's currently in log base b of y equals x form. We want to rewrite it in exponential form, which is b to the x equals y. And what will that look like? What'd you say? I can't hear y'all. Correct. Where'd that 10 come from? Right. There's an understood base of 10 for log when no other base is written. So 10 squared on this side becomes 100. And now to solve for x, all you're going to do is correct. And so the final answer will be 97. Okay, and then we'll check it. Since it's log base 10, you don't have to go into math log base. You can just hit this button right on the calculator, log. And then x plus 3, we would type in 97 plus 3, and we get 2, which is what it says it should equal. So we did it right. Okay, any questions about that section? Okay, the next section, they actually have multiple choice, so you can solve it by just plugging them in, or you can solve it the way we've been doing it. Number 4, what form is it, what form is it currently in? Exponential. Okay, that's your base, that's your exponent, that's your y. So we want to rewrite it in log form, and what will that look like? Correct. The first number stayed first. These two things just flip-flop sides. Now what should we do? First, let's evaluate that. Log base 5 of 14. So math log base 5 of 14 and hit enter. And then what will you do to that number? Add the 2. And you get 3.6, which is 8. Yeah, it's because they rounded it off, but had you plugged in the other choices, it would have probably been a lot further from 14. Yeah, like if you had even written out 3.64 and plugged that in, let's see what happens. 5 raised to the 3.64 minus 2 brings you a lot closer. Okay, so yeah, it's just all about rounding. So if you are trying to do it by just plugging in answers, and that one only brought you to 13 point something, check the other 3. You're probably going to notice that they bring you nowhere near 14, so that has to be it. Okay, number 5, what form is it currently in? It's in exponential, but it's base e, so when we rewrite it, it'll be rewritten as a natural log. So ln y equals x. What will that look like? Correct. The first thing stays first. It's just instead of e, we write ln for natural log. These two just switch sides. Okay, so now the only thing to do to get x by itself is minus this 4, but before we do that, what should we do? Correct. Go ahead and evaluate the natural log of 15 in the calculator. Hit enter. You can't immediately hit minus 4 because it'll be a different answer. Hit enter and then minus 4. Oops, not 14. And you get negative 1.29, which is what choice? Right. I think there's a box right there blocking it. Yeah. D. Negative 4. Okay, number 6. Solve log base 4 of 2x minus 1 equals 2. So you could either plug in each choice into the x place and see which one gives you a 2, or you can solve it using the equations. It's currently in log form, so we want to rewrite it in exponential form. What will that look like? Okay, and what does 4 squared become? And then what will you do? Add this 1 to the other side, and you get 17 equals 2x, and then you will divide by 2, and 17 divided by 2 is 8.5. Okay, can I erase? Alright, back of the page. Solve -5 log base 6 of x minus 7 equals -5. What should I do first? Or say you don't know how to do it. What would your second option be? You don't have the back? Okay. You know how to do it. What do you do first? Right. Divide by that -5 out front. Okay? It'll cancel here. And when you divide by it on this side, you end up with what? 1. Now it's in log form. There's your base. There's all in the y place, and that's in the x place. So to rearrange it, what will it look like? Right, 6 to the first power, which is just 6, equals x minus 7. And now to solve for x, what are you going to do? Add the 7, so your answer is 13. Okay, and you can check it. Like if I type in -5 and then log base 6, and then inside I type in 13 minus 7. Oops. Or technically you could just type in the 6 right there, because 13 minus 7 is 6. You get -5, so that means we did it right. Okay, any questions so far? If you deposit $4,500 into an interest-bearing account with an annual percentage rate of 2.5%, find the amount the deposit is worth after 10 years to the nearest cent if the interest is compounded monthly. Use the formula A equals P times 1 plus R divided by N raised to the NT power. So they tell you the formula to use. A equals what will go in the P place. Correct? That's what you open the account with. And then they tell you to use 1 plus R divided by N. Well, what's your R going to be? 0.025. Remember, if you're having trouble figuring out the decimal for the percentage, what can you do? Right, divide 2.5 divided by 100. 0.025. Okay? Also, just keep this in mind. Like if it said 2%, I'm pretty sure all of you would know that's 0.02. So 2.5% is just 0.025. Okay, now what do we put in the N place? What does compounded monthly mean? How many months are in a year? So you divide it by 12 because they're going to compound it monthly, which means 12 times a year. And then you raise it to the end, so you put another 12 there, times your T, and how long are they going to do this? 10 years. Okay, now you try to type that in by yourself. Everybody had the chance to type it in? What'd y'all get? Right. And it says to the nearest cent, so that's why you have to put 0.61, because with money, we go to the hundreds place. Okay, 61 cents. Number 9, if you deposit $3,750 into an interest-bearing account with an annual percentage rate of 3.5% and the interest is compounded annually, how long will it take the deposit to double? And then it'll say like it will take between blank and blank years to double, so you'll have to type in 2 different answers. This will be free response. Okay, so what equation should we use? The same one. A equals what goes in the P place, right? And then is it 1 plus or 1 minus? plus, because you're making interest, you're making money on the account. What's the rate? 0.035. Do we need to divide that by anything? What would we divide it by? No. It's compounded annually, which means it's compounded one time a year. So yeah, you could divide it by 1, but is that going to do anything? No. So for this one, you don't have to do the ends because it only is compounded once, and multiplying by 1 and dividing by 1 does nothing. And then to the t, what do we have for time? Oh no, we don't have time. What did they tell us? We don't know t. They're looking for how long it will take, so we're trying to find out this, for it to double. So what do? We do what? No. Right. You double your starting amount. What would this double to be? What's 3750 doubled? It's 7500, right? And that's what you plug in for A. You're trying to figure out how long it will take before it's $7,500, because that's double what you started with. Okay, so now that it looks like this, what would we do? Right, let me give myself some space. Okay, and so this side now equals 2, which makes sense because we doubled it to get that number. And then on this side, I'll go ahead and combine that to 1.035 to the t power. Now, what can we do to solve for t? Correct. Put it in log form. If you don't know how to do that, you can sit here and type in numbers for t until you get numbers that make 2. But it could take you a long time because there's no choices. So we need to rewrite it in a log form. What will that look like? Right? Of 2 equals t for time. And now type that in and see what you get. What? 20.1. So for this answer, you would put between 20 and 21 years. Even though it's really way closer to 20, you have to put 20 and 21. Okay, so like I said, once you get to this step, if you're not sure how to rearrange it into log form, which I hope you are because a lot of the test is rearranging, you could sit here and plug in numbers for a while until you get a number that brings you to 2 point something. But that could take you a lot longer than just knowing how to rearrange it. Okay, any other questions about that one? Alright, let's look at number 10. Yeah, you can. Okay, so A equals 2,500 times 1 plus, because it's growing, what's your rate? Right? And then how long means we don't know the time. Okay, that's what we've got to solve for. But we're wanting to know how long it will take for the population to go over 10,000. So where do we put that? Or no, yeah, that's 10,000 in it. In the A place. So 10,000 equals 2,500. Hold on. Times 1.065 to the t power. Then what would you do? Right? And you get what? And now that you have that, you could just plug in numbers, random numbers for t until you got to 10,000, or you could rearrange it into log form, and that would look like what? Right, of 4 equals t, and so the time it would take to get to 10,000 would be 22.01. So I think for this one, they don't do the blank and blank. I think you'll just literally type in 22.01 or whatever the answer is. Just make sure you read the directions and see what it says to round it to if it says. No, not all of them are. Okay? So remember, tomorrow you'll work on another review sheet. It'll be 20 more practice problems, 16 solving 4-word problems. There'll be an answer key up here that you can come and check as you work them. Use each other to help teach each other. And then this video will be on the blog if you're studying and you want to watch it again. Okay?